Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Tuesday evening and welcome back for another semester of State of the SEL. It has been a hot minute since we had one of these shows, but it feels good to be back. And I'm just warning everybody now, it was snowing in Auburn, Alabama today, so I did a lot of playing in the snow instead of graphic designing, so it's going to be a bare bones type of show. But the most important part of State of the SEL, one of the spring split of Season 5, is the people, as always. Got Mr. DJTJ up in the top right with one of the sexiest backgrounds I could have dreamt up. And then Dyln, bottom right corner, and then our special cast of the day, special guest of the day, Space Captain, bottom left. He's the captain of UAH Blue, who may or may not be back in the playoffs this season. We'll see about that though. But I gotta start with Space Captain. Space, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here. Always excited to make a Bepic stream. Got a lot of fun hot takes for today, so it should be fun for my first time on State of the SEL.
I'm glad to hear it. I mean, you can all see the, I guess, the side of topics we got going today. Should be a spicy show. And I know Dylan's got a couple of hot takes ready. I'm not going to ask for them just yet, Dylan, but how spicy are you going to get today?
I mean, we're not going to get too spicy. We're getting back into the swing of things. Happy to be back with the boys on the show, but I got a couple things to say. We got a couple things to say.
All right. Never shying away from a little spicy, at the very least. TJ, though, I know he's going to be real spicy. I mean, starting off with the fantastic background. I love the monitor behind you. I mean, that's going to look good for some casts this season. But you chose the right background today, I say.
Yeah, no, I mean, I just need some extra motivation to get through the day. Obviously, Georgia got some snow, too. So I got Bepic, I got snow. It's a pretty blessed day. No, I'm excited to piss off some people today. Let's have some fun.
All right. I'm here for it. So, the Bepic hat has made a return. My hair is very messy from wearing a toboggan all day. So, we're just rocking the Bepic hat. And, I mean, it's good because for those that don't know, we do draw the group stage groups out of this very hat at the start of the season. So, I mean, we got to talk about the qualifier today. We got to talk about the fall standings. Just catch everybody up on the state of the SEL. So, let's get into it. I'm going to show the current SEL standings. And this is what we got. So, this is the top 12 because on the Wikipedia page, the teams that made playoffs got points. But for those that don't know, if you made it to the second or third round of the last chance qualifier, you did make points, or you get points. I think it was 2 and 4 points each, respectively, going up as you go. But Space Captain, where's UAH Blue on this top 12? What? Come on, man.
Look, we tried our best. I don't appreciate the slack, the flack thrown at me this early on, but we got a new roster coming in, so you might see us up there this season.
Okay, well, before we get to talking about the standings, do we have any leaks? What's the new roster?
What's the new roster? We're bringing up someone from White. Cozen's sadly no longer with us. He's not dead. He's just dead to the esports scene. So we got Nanners coming up from White. He's a little bit of a beast. We had some VOD reviews going on with the Big Wade from King, who's our coach, and he said he looked pretty good. So I expect us to do pretty well.
Okay, hey, if Wade's saying you're looking pretty good, then I'm excited. So is it you, Taka, and Nanners then?
Yes, sir.
All right, hype. Hey, I mean, we got to talk about another team. I feel like that's not in this top 12 just yet. That made a roster move. Dylan, you stole one of your buds over to the dark side of the Owls this split.
The Kobe to my Shaq, he's back. He's over here at Kennesaw with me now. We got Shady, mechanical mastermind. We call him 40% beast mode. I mean, I don't know if you guys are aware, but he made day 3 of RLCS, so rank A now. I mean, he's been on the grind recently, and we've also got Coach Flitz in the lab with us. We've been working VOD reviews, individual sessions. We're feeling good. Pretty excited for the season up to come. Of course, we still got Joel with us too, so should be a fun season. We should definitely have a better run than we did last semester. So yeah, looking forward to it.
All right, that's hype. I mean, we need some fresh faces to the playoffs this season, because I mean, we're gonna be talking about how many of these current top 8 And we could expand the top 12 as well, but I mean, the top 8 are the teams that make LAN. Again, if you're unfamiliar with the Southeastern Esports League, we have a LAN in May, and the top 8 in overall points through fall and spring qualify for said LAN. And so, TJ, I mean, you're retired, you're an old man now, you can't talk about UGA roster moves, but you can talk about, I'll start with you, how many of these current top 8 teams you think are going to make it to that SEL LAN?
Oh man, me first?
You
All
first,
right.
straight into it.
All right, well, I mean, just by the power of God, give me Bruton Parker, obviously. You know, they got God on their side. They got the league on their side. They got points to spare. They could mess around and put in the B team and still be fine. Give me Bruton Parker. I slept on ETSU. Give me ETSU. Those are my 2 easy locks. Now,
Fair.
many people will see the rest of the list and have their opinions, but I feel a little iffy about the rest of the list. I think Florida should be fine. I believe Florida will make the playoffs. And as long as they do that, they're in my book. So I think they're going to be fine. UNCC had a rough time in the playoffs, but I think they're going to be just fine. I think mentally that team is going to come so far from when they started back in August, adding Bala, obviously. I think they're going to be just fine. Now, this section...
Yeah, the rest of it.
FIU and below. This is my really iffy section because now when you add in all these other teams, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, I think that almost every single one of those spots are going to move. The only team out of that bottom 4 in the green zone that I have faith in is George Mason. That is the only team that I got faith in. And not to say anything against FIU, but unfortunately, I did not see... I love Zernite, don't get me wrong, but I did not see a lot of clutch factor. And when we add all these schools from Texas or from the other various states that we've already been servicing, I just don't know how they stack up yet. I haven't seen them play in CCS, haven't seen them play in anything else, so I worry. Now, with the rest of the groups, I want JMU. My heart wants JMU. I, honest to God, think that JMU can make an upset and can get those last points to get the 8 or the 7 seed. So, in terms of below the top 4, I like GMU, I like JMU. I'm sorry to everybody else, but I think they're out.
Okay. So, how many is that total? What's the official number of the top 8 you think are going to make it to LAN?
That's 6.
6?
Well, 4, we'll say, yeah, basically 6.
Okay. 6 is the final answer from TJ. That's generous. That's a good chunk of the field. Because, I mean, there are more points in the spring semester than there are in fall. I forget the exact movement. You can check out SEL docs in the server if you want to look at the Rocket League format. But, Dylan, I want to ask you, how many of the top 8 do you feel confident in making it to LAN?
So, very similar to TJ. That top 4, I think, is on lock, purely based off of points. I don't think that any of those 4, unless they literally just completely miss playoffs entirely, like, they'd have to, like, bottom out in groups. They can't even make it to LCQ. I think those 4 are essentially a lock. Very similar mindset as TJ, though. That below is, like, it's low-key anybody's game. And honestly, I don't think that... I mean, we'll get into the rosters and all that later, but I believe that it won't be any of the other people that are in the top 4. I actually think it'll be James Madison and then 3 other teams that will be in our top 8 at LAN. But we'll get into that later. But yeah, just for now, out of the top 8 would be Bruton Parker, Florida, UNCC, and ETSU. Again, points-wise, that's like kind of impossible to fumble, but I'm not going to curse them.
Okay, and I mean, Space, are you going to turn into Spice Captain here, say anything different, or are you thinking along the same lines?
I don't think I can turn into Spice Captain for playoff predictions, unfortunately. Yeah, Bruton Parker and East Tennessee State, I think they're free. Those, you'd have to be pretty clinically insane to up and go against those as picks for playoffs. I personally have a little bit of a vendetta against UNCC because we almost beat them once. But sadly, I still think that both them and University of Florida will likely still be in playoffs. Other than that, George Mason, and I think it would be really interesting to see UTK there. Interesting.
Wow.
Because, now listen, look, they got 9th with their B team, and they got 7th, tied for 7th with their old A team. I'm saying it would be interesting to see them there. I think they have potential with this roster, but it would take a lot of a move for them to make playoffs.
That's a lot of faith in Kong. A lot of faith in Kong.
Have you met Kong?
Yes.
He's a good fella. I think he can do it.
Okay. Look, I like that. That's a hot take already kind of laid down before we even get to that section of the show. And I think differently. I think 5 teams are a lock. I think FIU of the bottom 4 is most likely to make it. GMU with a roster change. We'll talk about new rosters in a second here, but GMU with a roster change I think is going to have some growing pains. They might figure it out before playoffs. It's a long ways from now, but I think the top 5 on that Wikipedia page with FIU lumped in there. James Madison absolutely as well. They look fantastic. But South Carolina, they played James Madison on Tuesday Night Lights, and it's early on in the season. And Tuesday Night Lights, isn't always the greatest metric of measurement, but I see 2 teams play a best of 7 against each other. South Carolina looked like they have the capabilities of beating a team like James Madison. I think a lot of us are confident could make land with the points they've already got and with their spring performance. So I would love to see. This is also just the SEL old head in me. I want to see Cats on land for the SEL in his senior season. But I think it's time to talk about the new rosters of the SEL, because there's one of those teams that's joining us that I think has a pretty good shot at making land. And Cumberland is a lock to join the SEL. Space, what you thinking about the prospect of maybe having to play that Cumberland team this season?
Look, I already didn't like the last Cumberland team that made land last SEL, and I feel like this roster could be even scarier. I feel like having to play them, particularly when I've known a couple of the guys go through Cumberland, is just gonna be rough for a lot of teams playing against those members.
I mean, TJ and Dyln, you can open up the conversation if you like, fight over who's talking next here, but we got some pretty big heavy hitters coming into the SEL. Cumberland obviously the main one. Bruton Parker sticking, so I think it's really a battle between them at the top of the SEL. But taking a look at that list, what are we thinking? Just blurt out answers here.
Go for it.
Okay. Well, I played Polar and Next before when they were on Harrisburg. Not a fun experience. So obviously very talented. Played against Naya in 1,000,001 weeklies. Not very enjoyable. So seeing all 3 of them on a tournament, on a team together, does not make me scream, oh boy. It makes me go, oh boy. But that's obviously super talented, capable roster. We're seeing them. We're seeing the addition of Pigeon to JMU. That's the reason why I have them making one of those land spots. That's a very capable player, and I think if they can kind of get their flow, at the max potential, they could be a seriously strong team. We also see K Frost added to King.
He's back.
Yeah, he's back, and we've also got the big Wade himself. We've got him back on the team,
He's
so
back.
they're both back. It's him, bro. The goats are back together. They're flowing. They're excited, and then obviously we've got UTA in the league as well. A very capable team. They've made Summer Series in the West. We know that they have the power to just get things done. So yeah, those roster moves are definitely stuff to be on the lookout for. I don't know if you had some other things to point out, TJ.
I'll throw some stuff in the mix. Okay, Polar's one of them dudes. That's about as easy as I can say it. I unironically think when we come to vote on an MVP, when it's all said and done, Polar's going to be up there with people like Antics, people like Pigeon potentially. Who knows? There's so much that can happen. If they can get Naya from a 2s grinder into a 3s grinder, and they can transform his style and get his comms up, that team's dangerous. We already know what they can do in our LCS. They're already a day 3 team. So if they can just translate that to the collegiate landscape, they're going to be just fine. A few other small moves, which Dyln already kind of covered the majority of them. I saw that we didn't see GMU make a roster move, which I thought was slightly interesting, but I think Titanium graduated.
He's a coach now. He shifted to coaching.
Okay, so that surprised me because I saw Adapt get added.
Yep.
So that right there, that one's really, I have GMU rated fairly high. I think they're still going to be all right, and I did say that I think they can make land. So I hope that Titanium, even though he won't be on the pitch, he can still kind of instill that energy in his guys. Again, Pigeon, JMU, doesn't need to really be explained. K-Frost, Big Wade with Turbo. I think that team's going to have the most fun out of anybody in the entire SEL. And anytime I've seen a King roster with smiles on their face, they tend to win. So I'm very, very excited to see how they do. I saw Oklahoma added a few players. I only recognize Will this season.
Pay's a returner from the A team from the fall.
Okay.
And then
So
Kez
good to
is the newbie.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see how maybe some of the quote-unquote Div 2 schools, I'm really intrigued to see how they do. And one of my biggest sleeper picks, which isn't really a hot take, UT Arlington confuses me.
Yeah.
I honestly could not tell you if they're going to make LAN or not. I think that they should, but this UTA team, I've seen them on paper and I've seen them fail to perform on LAN, off LAN, in major national tournaments and regional tournaments within their own state. I just really can't point to a result and put my faith in them just yet. And on the lower, the lower side of SEL, I'll throw in Texas Tech. Love Bramble, and I love what those boys have been able to do. I think in the LCQ, they might make a few things happen. They might make things shake up. Again, not a hot take. They're a talented roster. But I just, again, same thing. I'm not familiar with Wild, not familiar with Buki, but that's a solid school. They've always had a solid Rocket League team, and they tend to punch up more than they punch down. And
as it comes to me, I think one team that has kind of snuck in there that I got to watch play at the Peach Belt Conference LAN, Florida Southern College is an addition to the SEL this season. And I'll put the names back up on screen and highlight them. But the Astro that's next to Sojin Sly is the RLCS Astro, like a crew Astro. The guy's been around the bubble scene for a while. And Sojin Sly, they are... I don't think this makes them a top team in the SEL, but that's a playoff team, I think, in my eyes. Although they did lose to Huntington College, coached by Mr. Bepic, so that was on LAN, a big win for us. And that's a solid roster that I think wasn't included in many power rankings. I'll spoil that fact a little bit, but that's because they just kind of snuck in. I recruited them to the league. I was like, guys, we need you in the SEL, because they're going to be a bottom side tier 1, I think top tier 2 team that can really take names. But I think you guys hit the nail on the head with the rest of the rosters. UT Arlington, if you didn't see it, it's on Mr. Bepic on YouTube. Caribou hit a psycho midfield redirect at 0 seconds to beat San Diego State on Tuesday Night Lights last week in Game 6. As well as hitting a flip reset in-your-face type of 0-second play in like Game 2 or 3 to give UT Arlington 2 of their 4 wins in that series. Big for UTA. But yeah, they confuse me as well. We'll see what happens, though, with those new rosters. But we got power rankings later in the show, got hot takes later in the show. I want to talk about the qualifier real fast, though. This is a brief segment, and I want to get the players' opinions of it. So the qualifier, for those that don't know the format right now, go read SEL docs to figure it out. It's a Swiss stage. It's a Swiss bracket to find out who our Tier 1 and Tier 2 and Tier 3 teams are. So it's several rounds. It's going to be a long night, starting at, I believe, 6 Central. But Space, I'll get your thoughts on it, because for a team like UAH Blue that's trying to make it to Tier 1, or is probably just a top side of Tier 2 type of team, you guys will be playing for a while. I mean, Swiss, we're thinking probably 5 or 6 rounds, depending on how many teams sign up. What are you thinking about a Swiss qualifier instead of the typical double elim?
Honestly, I like the format of it. I hate that it takes more time out of some players' days who have, more limited time spans. But I think it leads to better matchups. I think it leads to better outcomes. I feel like there were definitely some teams last split who made it to upper tier that since the bracket didn't flip and some weird things happened, they made it to upper tier when some other teams should have.
We don't have to roast Clemson anymore.
Hey, look, I'm not pointing out Clemson. All right, that's all you. But I definitely think that having that format will definitely lead to a lot better of an outcome for a lot of teams, and I think a lot of people will be happy with how they perform no matter what happens.
All right, and Dylan, your thoughts as well, because I know you were in a similar boat when we talked about this in the fall.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I it is going to be a long night, especially, for those, I want to say, like border tier 1, top tier 2 kind of teams that probably are going to go to the last round. But I do like that Swiss does a great job of kind of weeding out competition, but also kind of giving a good idea of, the teams that are supposed to make it up there are going to make it up there. You're going to see your Cumberlands, your Bruton Parkers, those kind of teams just probably sweep their way through. You're also going to see potentially some upsets maybe in the later rounds or maybe in the earlier rounds. There could be a team that starts off really, really hot. They get a few good series under their belt, and they're like, well, shoot, we can just carry it all the way. So it's going to be very interesting to go through and see how those kind of results pop out. I am excited. I low-key hate double elims, even though it's the most typical bracket stage, but it's just, sometimes 2 series isn't enough. Maybe you need a third one. Maybe you reverse sweep the Swiss. I don't know. But regardless, it should be super entertaining to kind of watch that develop.
Sweet. I mean, TJ, you and I are probably going to be covering that. I don't know what your plans are on February 5th, but it's going to be a long night of weeding out tiers 1, 2, and 3. So quickly, you can give your thoughts on it as well, even though you're not playing in it.
If we don't do an official stream, Bepic, I will be hopping between team to team to team all night.
Yeah.
That is going to be one of the greatest nights in SEL history, in my opinion. We're going to see some really crazy things that are going to hurt teams' chances of making LAN. We're going to see some real life-changing games that are going to hurt or benefit teams an insane amount through that Swiss stage. I'm super, super excited to see who takes advantage of the preseason.
And I had a little graphic, but I don't have it pulled up. So again, SEL docs for information on the Swiss. But February 5th is when that's happening at 6 Central Time, 7 Eastern. It's going to be a long night if you're fighting for Tier 1 because, like I said, expecting 5 or 6 rounds of Swiss. And there will be game differential tiebreakers that determine who make it into Tier 1 and Tier 2. It's not all play-ins. Otherwise, we'll be going 7, 8, 9 rounds of Swiss. For it to be exact, if we have exactly 64 teams, then maybe it'll be perfect. But there's likely a chance that some teams get in on game differential over others. So there's more spice. And speaking of spice, it's time for some hot takes, boys. We have been prepping some hot takes for the season here, and I don't even know who I want to start with here. TJ, I guess I'll start with you since you got the sexiest background of the 4 of us. But you can give a hot take here. If you've got multiple, we can come back to you. But anything about the SEL Spring split? What are you thinking?
I can start with one.
Okay.
Remind me how many teams will make it into the LCQ? It would be the seeds from what to what?
Okay, so let's see. Top 4 from Tier 1 make it. Is that right? Oh man, you're testing my format knowledge.
I was trying to pull it up as you were talking. I didn't think I was going first.
I believe it's 32 teams that make it to the last chance qualifier.
So is that going from 4 down 32 spots? Or is that 1 to 32?
It's the same format as last season. So 4 LCQ teams make it to playoffs. So top 8 from Tier 1 make it into playoffs directly. The bottom 8 play the LCQ, which joins the top 24 teams of Tier 2. So that's a 32-team last chance qualifier. Top 4 teams out of that make it to playoffs.
Okay. Well, I'm going to change the way I was going to word this a little bit, and I know that the people in chat are not going to like what I'm about to say.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I told you, we're going to ruffle some feathers tonight. UTK goes out round 1 of LCQ.
Whoa, at Kung.
There's my hot take.
At Kung.
You do not want to join VC tonight, TJ. Oh, no. Oh, no.
I told y'all I'm here to ruffle feathers, man. I'm going to be on broadcast all year. People are not going to like what they're going to hear.
Shaka's already adding Joe Bro in chat, so the feathers are ruffled. Space. Now you can turn to Spice Captain. Come on now.
Yeah, Spice Captain. I think King beats University of Tennessee to get them out round 1.
Who does?
King.
Wade's
back.
King beats
Wade's
them.
back.
Okay, so that is a really specific hot take right there. Okay, King beats UTK round 1 of last chance qualifier.
No, so jokes aside, I do think I want to go back and agree with what TJ said earlier about King being, I think, one of the most fun rosters that's going to hit the SEL this season. I think depending on how well they get their roster moving, they are going to be playing very well, and I hope they play well in LCQs.
Okay, we need to get a hotter take here. How far is King making it? Are they making it to playoffs? Are they going out in LCQ like the last round? I need more specifics.
All right, I'm sorry. Look, I'll give you a little more spice. I think they go out last round. I don't think they make it to playoffs, unfortunately. But...
So you think that like this new version King roster will go pretty much the same distance? Because in the fall they went out round 2 of LCQ, but only on a forfeit. And they were playing Florida Orange, which is the B team. So they were probably going to play James Madison for a spot in playoffs in the LCQ. So you think they make it pretty much the same distance?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I mean, there's been some King hype. Dylan, I don't know if your hot take has anything to do with King or not, but go ahead and lay yours down.
It does. I'll just get that out of the way. I actually am on the opposite end. I think that King's going to be a lot stronger than people expect him to. Alluding to what TJ mentioned earlier, a fun King is a scary King. And I think just seeing, K Frost and Turbo together with Wade again, that literally just sounds like a let's have fun meta kind of team. And we already know what Turbo is capable of. We've seen him ball out. We've seen him play. We know what Wade is capable of. He's a very smart, very conservative player. And then we know that K Frost is just all over the place. I can see them low key. Like, I can see them making top 3. If they're locked and they're in, I could 100% see a super deep run like off some team. And also, I also could look see UTA like not making the playoffs. I don't think that's ridiculous. I would say that's not ridiculous, but like it's like a mildly warm take.
That was on my list too.
Okay, yeah. I mean, like we obviously know that they're capable, what they've done in the West, but they're in the Southern territory now, and I don't know if they're going to be able to just kind of replicate them same kind of the East. Especially with we've seen how these rosters are developing in the East as well. I mean, it's just, there's a lot of talent here. But yeah, those are my main takes for what I think is possible for this season.
All right, real quick, summarize the hot takes, just like really quick, one line, because the Discord audio was bugging thanks to OBS. So summarize it real fast for those that couldn't understand it.
King top 3, UTA no playoffs.
Okay, I can agree with that, and I mean, I think going into the spring split that the top 3 are going to be made up of the majority of teams that have never touched the top 8 in SEL history. Like, I think that's... Oh, wait, shoot. Cumberland's been a top 8 team in the SEL. That's not... it's not a hot take. This is what I get for making up my hot take on the spot. I played in the snow all day, didn't have a hot take, which makes sense, actually. Okay, but I think Cumberland wins the spring split of the SEL. Is that hot enough, boys? Is that hot enough?
Dude, I think that's frozen. Gotta be honest.
I think if you're gonna get on to Spice Captain, we're gonna get on to you for that one.
Okay. How about I think Florida Southern's gonna make playoffs?
That's a hot take. I like that.
I think Florida Southern is a playoff team. There's my hot take, and I made it up on the spot. How about that? All right, TJ, you said you had more hot takes, right?
Yeah, can I hate for a second?
Go and hate.
Clemson doesn't get anywhere near the playoffs. They also go out first round LCQ.
Okay.
There will be no allegations of the B team and all that mumbo jumbo. Clemson's going out.
At Maysal.
TJ, I also don't think that take is very hot either. I gotta be truthful.
Okay. You want me to keep going?
Bepic, it's your show, but I'd love to hear these.
TJ, go ahead. I got one after you finish your hot take. Skyline's got a hot take.
All right, I'm gonna throw 3 teams into one. Watch this one.
Okay.
Louisiana, Houston, ECU, sleeper LCQ teams. I don't know if that's exactly hot. I think ECU's hot.
Yeah.
But now in terms of playoffs, I like the chances of a team like Louisiana upsetting somebody on the fringe of Tier 1, and I'm gonna throw out a name to make things even spicier, like a King roster.
So what I'm hearing right now is
He's
like
cooking.
the 7th through 20th is really close in our eyes, because we're talking a lot of upsets here in the LCQ.
I think it depends. There's a few sleeper teams in that group that should control the top. My gatekeepers are JMU, GMU, a team like Alabama, and a team like King. Those are my gatekeepers. They should be fine, but I worry that they're going to fumble the torch.
I respect the Bama pick staying in the playoffs. Maybe that's my hot take. I don't think Alabama makes it maybe past round 2 of LCQ. But
Ooh.
Skyline says his hot take is that ETSU, and specifically he said himself, will defend his podium and ensure that his alma mater does not surpass him. So Skyline's saying ETSU is going to prevent Cumberland from getting to top 3. That's his hot take, and he's got to back that up himself. I mean, Space, are you giving that any kind of respect?
I don't think I want to give past Cumberland any respect at all. I'm sorry. I think New Cumberland coming in. No, hold on. Sorry. In comparison to New Cumberland, I don't think that's necessarily as cut and dry as he wants to make it out to be.
Okay. Dyln, TJ, you think Skyline's telling the truth here?
You first.
Look, Skyline. I mean, you know what, bro? I respect the ambition and the dedication. I don't think you're doing that, bro. I love you, though. I don't think you're doing that. But I would love to be proven wrong, because it's either A, hey, I get to see my buddy, succeed, or B, I get to be right. So I win here either way. I don't know.
All right,
I mean,
respect.
I hate kind of tagging on here because I did not give ETSU a lot of respect and faith in the last top 6 portion of last year's playoffs. So look, for Skyline and all the boys in chat, I want to see y'all make top 4. I want to see that. But my God, you're going to hit a brick wall. 3-0 Cumberland.
Oh, no. All right, real quick as well. I showed this earlier, but I want to show everybody what the LCQ results were from the fall, just so you can see kind of what we're talking about when we're saying X team won't make it past round 2 of LCQ. Because, I mean, we had teams like East Carolina, Clemson, I believe Orange is the A team. They went out round 2 LCQ. Louisiana Tech, NKU, Auburn, King with an asterisk, Kentucky B, who's actually a pretty solid B team, and the George Mason Academy, Adapts roster. And those are the types of teams that we're saying didn't make it past round 2 of the LCQ. And obviously, I think everyone's kind of getting bumped down around if you're adjusting and figuring who's going to be at the top of the SEL. But I mean, it's only gotten more stacks. Saying going out second round of LCQ, that's not a bad result. I think if I were playing, I think that'd be a decent result with a little bit of salt in the wound for not even making it a round away. I mean, TJ, you feeling the same? If you were playing for UGA still, what would your aspirations kind of be as a roster with the new SEL in mind?
I know for UGA specifically, and with the amount of roster changes we had, I think making the LCQ would be a win. I think a true win would be second round of the LCQ. I think if you, as a low SSL GC3 bare minimum roster, if you can make it to round 2 of the LCQ, that's a very formidable result.
I mean, Dylan, I can ask specifically, what are the KSU aspirations within the SEL format this season?
Oh, very first, us not trolling Game 5 against LA Tech. But
fair.
Aside from that, realistically, I think our ceiling got a lot higher with Shady on our team. I think unlocking us as a team in whole, I think we could make probably LCQ round 3. Whether or not we win it or not is up in the air, but honestly, I do think we have that potential, and maybe even potential to make play. I can't say for certain, but I'm very ambitious with my goals, and I would say, not making playoffs would obviously feel like a failure, but I wouldn't think it'd be ridiculous to go out maybe in a round 2 or a round 3.
All right, Space, how about you with UAH?
I think UH is gonna have a tough time this semester. We got a new guy coming up. I want to hold out hope. We got a new guy coming up. He's got to get used to the pace of playing against GC3 players and playing against GC2s on UH White. He's gonna have a lot to get used to. And as much as that picture of Bepic just getting bigger in the background is distracting me. As much as I'd love to hold out the best kind of hope for us, I think it's gonna be a little tough. I proudly had 91 minutes over Christmas break, past 2.
Nice.
So we've got a lot of work to do. I think Wade's going to be there to carry us mentally and in our play. And I think we make LCQ just like we did last split. And I think we have the potential to go a little further, but we're going to have to put in the work in.
All right, well, speaking of which, let's just put the power rankings up on screen, because we got some confident boys with their teams. I want to draw attention to the bottom right corner. You got UAH Blue in 12th here, Space, so you're calling a trip to the playoffs. Otherwise, did you make your power rankings in jest?
Oh, no. So you see, look, I think we have the potential to do whatever we have the potential to do, right? I think we go back to hot takes, and I have to support my squad up there no matter what, even if I bump other teams down. Realistically, I think a lot of the teams coming in from other parts of the new SEL are going to have a lot of a chance to take away those bottom 6 spots. There's going to be a lot of movement going on, but
Space,
in jest.
Where is Cumberland, Space?
I got bad I forgot to put Cumberland on there.
Oh,
Hey, look,
no.
I've talked good about the new Cumberland roster. All right, look, we know I've said some things about the new guys coming in. I think they're a lock, but yeah, but I think those bottom 6 are going to be some real easy positions to fill.
Okay, you got James Madison in the bottom 6 as well. No love for the new look roster.
Well, you know.
All right, we're moving on from Space's power
What
rankings
do we know?
here.
What do we know?
Hold on a second. No, we're not. Is that Florida Atlantic at 11th? I see.
Wait, what?
Am I tweaking, or is that a typo?
Oh, I'm a swerve, but
Listen
we're
here.
tweaking.
Yeah,
We're tweaking.
Yep, just look at it.
Tweaking.
Monster. We got to start a conversation.
All right, he's been banned from State of the SEL. It's happening
No, not
in real
yet.
time.
Come
You're
on
done,
now.
bro.
I got through the first 35 minutes without any trouble. That's not fair.
Well, that is a take of all time. You didn't mention that in your hot takes. What's up with this FAU roster? Do you know something we don't?
I think that I went through and copied the people who made playoffs before, and I didn't do enough moving around to make room for new teams coming in, and that's my fault.
Let's go to the
FAU
last chance
made
qualifier
playoffs.
real quick. Where is FAU?
Where did FAU come from? Yeah.
I don't know. Hold
FAU made playoffs last year.
Yeah, there you
with
go.
Hammy.
Oh heck no!
Oh wait, not Big Dog.
Oh heck no! They didn't even play. Oh, heck.
It was bound to happen.
Hey,
So,
he's a little
are
Stan
you-
believer.
Hey,
So Space,
shout out
are you
Mitra.
gonna push everybody down one spot and then put Cumberland over them, or at first? Is that what we're gonna do? Like really?
I think realistically, I think you're asking a little bit too much for me, considering that I put FAU on there. But yeah, I think Cumberland has a lot of potential to move pretty much everyone that's sitting up there down
I
a
hope
pick.
so.
So
You got it, bruh. You got it.
All right. Anyway, let's move on and look at the middle 3 columns. I think a little more thought was put into those power rankings. Dylan, you got 3 teams in 12th. What's up with that?
Before I talk about that, I just wanna make a comment. I switched FIU and UTA. I reversed their spots.
Okay, all right.
I
Can
think
do that.
FIU is gonna be 8th. I think that my team, Alabama or Houston, and I'm also adding Florida Southern on there now that you mentioned
Okay.
them, could take any of that 12 to 16 spot, or just could be that playoff team,
make it a 4th
depending on
team.
bracket or whatever. Yeah, we'll make it a 4th. But yeah, like I was mentioning to earlier, I think my team has the potential to make playoffs. Alabama has already made playoffs. Houston was kind of one of those teams that like they made it to the match point, right? Or they made it to
We go
playoffs
back.
point. It was, I think they played Old Dominion,
Yep.
lost 3-1. It was, yeah, okay, yeah. I believe they have positive capability. They kind of get talked about a lot. They have like peak capability. I'm not too sure though where they'll be this season. That's kind of why I have them along with us. We're all just kind of wild cards here. Obviously, my team in Houston and FSC being the most wild card because Alabama's already proven themselves. But yeah, regardless, I don't think that it's ridiculous to kind of put not just ourselves in the conversation, but the rest of the teams here.
Fair enough. I should also mention for chat, these power rankings were made with the current spring commits in mind. So there might be teams that in the next 10 days, as registration is closing, decide that they would like to play in the SEL Spring Split instead of not deciding to play in the spring like we initially think. So Old Dominion is one of those teams that may or may not be coming back. We're not sure at the moment. And so that's why they're not in the majority of the top 12s here. But with that in mind, I have to ask about the King placement, Dylan. 5th overall. You got them above UNCC, above Florida, above FIU, GMU. You really do believe in this King roster.
I do, man. It's not just the have fun aspect about it, but I think a comfortable Turbo is probably one of the scariest people you can play against if he's allowed to just do what he wants with the ball in the air or on the ground or whatever it is. He's a playmaker. We've seen it happen time and time again, and I think K-Frost being added to this roster as well as a very comfortable third as Big Wade will give him that kind of comfort to play on the field, not feel like he has to hero ball all the time. He's got that strong support from his teammates now, and I think that's going to unlock some of that old King that we saw prior. Not all of it, it's not, Turbo Storm cynical, but it's still going to be a very strong team. And like I was mentioning earlier, like that, I think they have the capability. So,
all right, well, we'll move on to Dyln. We'll move on from Dyln to TJ. TJ, talk about your list. I'll put it back up on screen here. You got Bruton Parker in first place. I love the Georgia love. But talk about your top 12.
Someone's got to ride with him. Somebody's got to ride with Bruton Parker. And somebody's got to ride with UTA. Like, I know that I've talked on this team. I know that I've talked on him. But I feel like that roster is getting old. I think that there's a more motivation. I know this team's normally pretty laid back, pretty chill about things. But I got faith. And I think, and I know a lot of people are going to see that JMU, GMU right back to back. I worry because when I look at postseason performances, all four of those teams right there, UTA, JMU, GMU, King, scare the ever-living you-know-what out of me. I have absolutely no idea where they're going to end up, and I probably won't know until the LCQ how things are going to end up. And then I'm actually pretty happy with my ball knowledge here. I like Louisiana. I like Houston. I've been following, trying to get my CCS power rankings ready. Obviously, like I know me and you have been working on our colleague and CCS and this at all the same time, Bepic. Yep. So I know we've been really trying to study up. I think this is going to be a ball knowledge pick. I'm going to probably talk about it on stream in 8 weeks. We'll see what happens. But that USC team all the way at the bottom, I honestly think they can do better. I just don't know because I think they are arguably less consistent than that 6 through 9 spot. Now, in terms of my top 5, I'm very happy with that.
Okay, I think the top 5 definitely is a safe bet. I'm surprised a little bit at your lack of faith with Pigeon joining James Madison. Gat and Ability are solid enough with a Pigeon infusion to make a deep run, but I can understand playoff inconsistency. I'm very confident in them. Watching them play UNCC and South Carolina on Tuesday Night Lights last week, Game 7 win over UNCC, which is why they're a spot above them, and then a Game 6 win against South Carolina, which honestly is why South Carolina's top 8 for me. Because against James Madison, SJT was playing out of his mind, and he's always like the third man that came up from the B team. I feel like is always the guy with the most criticism on him, but SJT looked really solid, and Katz I think is going to be hungry to close out his collegiate career with good results, and then Og, we know what we get out of Og on a week-to-week basis. So South Carolina I think is a top 8 team. That might be a hot take as well that I should have mentioned earlier, but I have faith in JMU. But yeah, I think I favor Cumberland right now to top the spring, nab that CECC bid. If they don't get it elsewhere, they could get it. We got the CECC South qualifier coming up in a weekend or two, so they could get it there. But in the SEL, I think it's their league to lose at the moment. I mean, looking at RLCS results, we got some RLCS boys. I mean, Shady, Pigeon, the Cumberland guys obviously playing on day 3. Who else? Anyone know any other RLCS guys? Astro, if he's on a team still. Any others?
In terms of day 3, not that I could think of.
Okay, what about like deep day 2? I imagine Turbo had to be as well.
Yeah, Turbo, Antics.
Turbo was, yeah.
Antics, yeah.
I'm pretty,
Manny
I
and
mean...
Milk.
K-Frost technically subbed for Tybu's team.
All right.
I don't know if you want to count that, but they made day 3, obviously. Well, I say obviously, but yeah, they made day 3. I think those are the only RLCS guys on this list.
I don't think anybody from GMU or any of the other rosters. I mean,
if you want to count me, Monk, and Kai from
we count
FIU.
We count it.
We didn't make that far.
I don't think Og made it that far either.
Well, still not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. Space, when are you making day 3 RLCS?
Listen, all right. If you give me like 10,000 more hours, I think we got it. That's all I need.
That's all.
That's all I need.
All right.
When are you making top 8, huh? When are you making top 8 RLCS?
Team Bepi is a long dormant name in the RLCS. We made some deep like 2-2 overall tactical mandatory bandits on wheels runs back in the day. That's how far a Champ 2 and a couple GCs can go. But yeah, I don't know about RLCS. I could be in some day 3 RLCS lobbies. but that's probably about it. Anyway, power rankings. You guys, anything jump out at you outside of Space's list? We kind of tore that to shreds already, but you're looking at everybody else's list. Any crazy picks?
Spaceless, man. That just hurts my soul.
Okay, look, you're nitpicking the bottom, dude. Look at the rest of the
Nah,
picks.
bro.
Okay.
All
The
of it.
picks are
The whole
fine.
thing, bro.
Even at 7, like,
The
can
rest
we
of the
talk
picks are
about it?
fine.
You
Can we
think
talk about
so?
it?
You think
Just shift
hold on.
everyone down and put
No.
Cumberland up there by BPC.
That's not enough, bro.
No.
You think wait, so you think Alabama is better than South Carolina, but you think Alabama, James Madison, and South Carolina are worse than Old Dominion, correct?
Listen, you're saying that
No. I mean,
South
just answer
Carolina.
just like
No, I'll answer your question. You're
Okay.
saying in your list that South Carolina is only one step above Bama, and you're listed at the bottom. So what's the issue with
fair point.
having
because
having
that
a
would
little
mean
bit of faith in
USC
the Bama
won against
boys?
Bama. That means that they would be better than them.
Okay, no, I understand, but like we've gone through and we've talked about a lot of positions being able to move. I trust in the Bama boys. I played them at Bepic's Battle for Bama. I think they have a lot of
win?
faith as a team. No, we took them to Game 5.
I can respect that.
Okay.
They're a good roster. They're not a land.
No, I
roster,
know, that's
but they're a
valid.
good they're a good roster. And look, I like everyone that I have below the top 5, not necessarily in that order. I like those teams as contenders. Okay, nice Clemson edition.
All right, wait a minute. I have to just have a genuine one-on-one conversation here because I'm
Yeah,
not
go
trying to
ahead.
hate too hard. But what is it about Old Dominion that makes them up that high in your list?
I like the way they performed in playoffs.
Okay.
This past split.
All
I think
right.
they did well.
That's a sleeper
Based,
team.
man. Based.
I think it's a sleeper
Yeah.
team.
Hey, you know what? Some people call it a sleeper team. I'm snoozing, but to each their own.
Hey, man. Me and you both, brother. We're sleeping good. Nightcap, pajamas, everything.
Hey, I like the hot take. Spice Captain's on fire.
Spice Captain is slowly fizzling. Is what Spice Captain is doing.
I don't know, man. That list is roaring, bro. It don't look like it can get put out at all.
You know, outside of that, it's not too crazy. I don't think these lists for being preseason rankings are too crazy. Dylan's seen something though.
Well, I didn't think TJ touched on his Louisiana placement at 10th. What's
Oh, I can talk about it.
Yeah, I didn't think you mentioned it. What you got?
All right, so originally a roster that I'll sleep on, and I'm gonna be honest, of all the picks that I made on this list, that's my least confident hot take that I've said tonight. But for some odd reason, whether it's against Buds at GSU or whether it's against anybody in their CCS pool, that roster has done some pretty crazy things. I have faith in Juro, and same thing with Houston. I have faith in Zulfi. Those are teams with strong mechanical leaders and tend to play in styles where their teammates, as long as they are GC3 or higher, they become a system team. To where they can upset teams better than them mechanically because they have full faith in each other and mechanically can catch you off guard. I can make the comparison at the top. It's like Patty on Akron Blue. That's the comparison at the top level that I would make to it. Now, granted, that's quite the comparison, but for both of those teams, that's my explanation. I think that they are the best upset picks I could think of next to UTA.
I like
Honestly,
it.
I don't hate that take. I was honestly just curious, you know.
Yeah.
Although I do, if I remember correctly, Buds beat Louisiana in
They did.
6 at CC. Okay, cool.
They
cool,
did.
cool. Well, hey, listen, man.
I just know that I'm willing to go down with the fire and the flames. So
You and Space
shout out
Captain
Juro.
burning over there.
shout out
I'm
Juro.
on fire. I'm sunburned. I'm melting in a cremation chamber. I don't know what's happening.
Bepic, I have a question.
Oh, go for it.
So since we have Shady now, right, and since
Mm-hmm.
I was a former Bud, do we get Bud's points this semester? Maybe.
No.
I tried, guys. I tried, man. I tried.
You were a former
I
Bud
just
a
shot.
whole season ago.
It wasn't that long ago now.
Dang, he just called you Unk.
He did come. I am Unk.
I mean,
Come
that,
on, you know me, man. Come on, man.
So yeah, no, that is not the case. Plus, points stick with schools; they don't stick with players. Unless
The UK B team kept the B team points, correct?
they will get the A team points.
Really?
Yes, as far as I am familiar with the rules, because they are the UTK A team now. It would work the same if 2 players got bumped up to the A team roster. because it sticks with the team. Because it's not like RLCS where you go out and make moves. Well, maybe it's starting to be like that, but no, it sticks with the team. But, you know, talking about Louisiana, you can all watch Louisiana perform tonight against Purdue on Tuesday Night Lights. Got a couple of the teams we've been discussing today on Tuesday Night Lights. I'm putting the schedule up there early, plugging it early on. Starts in 10 minutes, ULL versus Purdue, which means we do have to wrap up the show, gentlemen. And we're wrapping it up with what we're looking forward to most about the spring SEL, or just outside like the CRL season. Whatever you are looking forward to the most this spring. I'll start with our special guest, Space Captain. What are you looking forward to most this season?
I think that all the graduating seniors out there should try to make the most of their last season. I think that's all anyone can ask for. Yeah, I think you throw away all of your grades and you go for playoffs.
That's what Be More did.
That's tech.
Yeah.
All right, I
Seriously,
respect
enjoy
that.
it.
I love the graduating seniors. I remember like the stories we were sending out our graduating seniors with on LAN last season. Be More, Apples, Fries, and Luigi. Solar didn't make it, but he was close as well. The graduating seniors they get a lot of love in their final semester. And Dylan's ducked below the desk, so we're gonna go to TJ for what you're looking forward to most about the spring season. We got an additional member of the panel as well.
Oh man, SEL has just always been incredible. I bring it up on broadcast every week. I'm very thankful for the SEL, very thankful for the content every week. Keeps my life interesting. You know, things like Spice Captain only happen once in a blue moon. This is just what this league's all about. It's about the fun, it's about the community, it's about highlighting what we have to offer. And now adding all these Texas schools, adding Louisiana in greater depth than last season. Like, this right here is not just the SEL. We might just mess around and have some Eastern contenders. Potentially some national contenders in Bruton Parker and Cumberland, and who knows, maybe ETSU, UNCC. But very, very excited. CRL is back. SEL is back. My heart's full, and it's always been a blast. And I have, obviously, Blake. So.
All right, Dylan, you can give what you're looking forward to most for both of you. I assume you and your cat are on the same page.
Yeah, this is my cat, Alex. I'm mainly looking forward to all the lands that are happening this season. She wants to go to... Okay. Mostly looking forward to all the lands that are going to be happening this season. You know, the clashes, the teams that are going to be capable. I think that there could be a really, really, really fun series of Cumberland versus Bruton Parker at SEL land this year. That could be awesome to look forward to. Of course, we're going to have Bluegrass this spring. Hopefully we can get a Vol land cooking. You know, just more Southeast lands to look forward to. Queen City Clat, like all these things that really make CRL, the Southeast, feel, you know, just so connected, so included, and just fun, man. Like, the Southeast is awesome. So just looking forward to all the storylines that develop and everything that can happen. And yeah.
All right. Well, Dylan stole mine. It was gonna be the lands for me in the spring, but so I'll pivot to plugging a whole bunch of stuff. I'm looking forward to just being back. I mean, for those that don't know, I worked at Huntington College as the Rocket League coach this past year. It was a full-time gig, so I wasn't able to cast nearly as much Rocket League as I wanted to. So Tuesday Night Lights, CCS, SEL broadcasts, some probably other matches on my stream at some point. We'll see. What are you talking about, TJ? I see in chat. Go ahead. Actually, I'll close this down.
So let's just say there's a very nice group of organizers that you may be familiar with, like myself, Shaka, Joe Bro, and even Chipmunk from UKY. Volan Rocket League is happening now. Granted, we're trying to make sure that we can actually make it Volan. But even if it's not technically called Volan, UTK and the lovely crew over there, including my voice, will be there in Knoxville. We can't wait to see you all. More info soon.
That's hype. There's at least one of the spring lands to look forward to. I'm so excited. I feel like there's like every weekend for me from March until June is full of some kind of travel. So can't wait for that. Can't wait for all the broadcasts, all the streams. If you're already following, follow the Mr. Bepic channel for State of the SEL, Tuesday Night Lights, CCS, SEL broadcasts, some RLCS stuff as well. But that does do it for State of the SEL. Space, thank you for joining me, TJ and Dylan. The first spring State of the SEL. Tuesday Night Lights is to come. I'm going to put the schedule up on screen one more time. Here's what we got. Purdue, Louisiana, UTSA, George Mason, BPC, Michigan State, KSU, and Oklahoma. Dylan, I know your answer to this, but we're going to close out the show talking about which series we're looking forward to most on Tuesday Night Lights. How about you?
It would be stupid for me not to say our own series. I'm excited to get an official show match with the boys in, but I want to see this Bruton Parker Michigan State series. That looks like it's going to be fun too.
TJ, how about you?
Man, give me a night of absolute domination. Give me Bruton Parker in 4 just cuz, and give me KSU in 4. Why not?
Sir, yes, sir.
All right, he's throwing down the predictions. Space, I'll toss it to you to close us out. So thank you for joining us. And which series are you looking forward to the most?
I gotta say the Bruton Parker Michigan game is gonna be a good one to watch, and I think Purdue and Louisiana could be a little bit of a sleeper. I think that could be some fun. So,
hey,
but yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course. Good luck this season, gentlemen. As always, all of you in chat can watch me and TJ on the main SEL broadcast Wednesdays at 7 Central, 8 Eastern, and wherever you can really find SEL Rocket League. Show some love to Valorant too. Thursdays, same time, same place. Scott and Dallas put on a wonderful show there. But that does it for State of the SEL. Stay tuned for Tuesday Night Lights 2. We had 3 of the 5 series between Tuesday and Wednesday last week go to Game 7. So you are in for a treat if you like entertaining collegiate Rocket League. But for now, thank you to my wonderful panel, all of you that watched. I will see you in 5 minutes time pretty much for Purdue versus Louisiana. So stay tuned for more SEL, TNL, whatever kind of action you want. We'll see you there.